Hi, my name is Mike Baio. I'm from Bangert Inc. And welcome to the live stream for HH2 Remote Payroll Time Entry for Sage Intacct Construction Accounting. Today we're going to show you how you can remotely enter time either through a phone or tablet in the field and also through the web page into HH2 and have it integrate into the Sage Intacct Construction Payroll Accounting platform. What we'll go through first is we'll go through entering an individual time entry for one individual employee and have that flow through the system. And then we'll show you some other features inside the software that you can take advantage of. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag over my screen here. I have my HH2 Remote Payroll app open up on my phone here. So on my phone, I'm going to open up the app and it's going to log me in as the individual. And I'm going to enter for my crew, and I'm going to use the period end date of March 18th because I have a fresh week here to use. And you can see there's multiple options in this application as far as what features that individual can use when they're in there. And this is all going to be secured depending on what you can or cannot do. So I'm going to enter some daily time for Chris Elliott. And as you can see here, what will come up is the individual projects that Chris Elliott is working on. And what I can go through here is actually enter in some hours for Chris. Let me make sure I'm not on the right date there. So let me go back here. Let me start that again. Actually, I'm going to back out and I'll go to the weekly time entry. So you have a daily, as you can see here, and you have a weekly. So let's go into weekly time entry. And I can see for Chris, there's my week. There's the projects that he's assigned to for that week. And I can just literally come down to here and enter in the hours for each individual week. So let's put some time in here. And I'm just entering on my tablet. And we'll just say 8 hours there, 8 hours, and he had 1 overtime. And then on Thursday and Friday, and you can have more cost codes and so forth as far as that goes, but we're going to keep it simple for now. We're going to enter the time and we're going to click done. So what happens down here, as you can see, you have the opportunity to add more cost codes. For the employee to sign the timesheet and so forth. So if you require them to signature, you can click on the sign and then you'll click next. And then the employee can tap and actually sign the form and click save and finish. And uploaded signature successful. I could then get back to my main screen and that information is logged into the HH2 service, cloud service, through the mobile app instantly. So now if we move over to the login on the web, for example, let's log in as the project manager who is responsible for approving that time. So we're going to log in as Greg. And when Greg, now also there'll be notifications that are available when Greg has time to approve and so forth. So we're just going to go into here and Greg's logged in. We're going to go into remote payroll and we're going to go click on the time approval option here in time tracking for Greg. So this is where Greg can come in, view the time that he has to approve. Now, you know, we did our time on 3/18, so you can see here this is from the prior week. But if and because I'm in the future, it's not showing me that. So I'm just going to flip it over for demo purposes here to March 18th. And once I get into March 18th, you'll see here that there's one employee that has time. It's already been approved. I'm sorry, it has not been approved yet. There's an approval button here, but you can see here all the notes, the employee information comes over. You can see the signature right there. And if I want to get in and see the detail of what these 40 hours makes up, I can click on Chris and it will open up his timesheet. So there are the hours that we put in through the mobile app. Okay, and then depending on the authority that you assign for this project manager or this manager uses, is they can enter additional time, they can delete time, they can add time, depending on the requirements that you've set up in your system. So let's just go back into the approval. And let's go into here and let's get back to our week. And let's go to March 18th. And let's approve that time. So, and you can see here, you can get totals by your crew. So this is the crew that I'm responsible for and so forth. Okay. So what would happen now, and this depends on your workflow that you set up for your approval workflow. This workflow then, once the project manager assigns it, it's going to the payroll administrator to give it one final look and send it into Sage Intacct. So let's go in now and assume, let's log out. Let's assume we're logging in now as our payroll manager, Lisa, and she's reviewing the time to get ready to process into Sage Intacct for the week. So when Lisa signs in, she can go right into her approval, remote payroll time approval. And again, we'll be in the current week, but let's switch over here for demo. And let's take a look at a future pay period. And there's our March 18th. And now you'll see all the employees that she's responsible for pushing forward. She has the same type of look where she can just see time by individual crews or pay groups or departments here that you can set up. And then you can see which times are missing, etc. In the system. So again, we can see here she has the same access that Greg had. Basically she can approve the time here individually. You can view the detail like we did before. You can see the signatures. Or if all the time is available, in this case, in a normal process, you'd have all the employee time in here. She can approve it in a mass level, approve already time. And that would approve all the lines here. So we can go approve. And basically now this is ready time. And this time is now ready to be exported into Sage Intacct. So at that point, when all the time is available, the payroll admin would come over to here and click this export time button. And there's other reports that can be run as well, but we're going to click export time. And it's going to bring her into a wizard. And the reason it's showing nothing again is because it's always pre-filling to the current week. I'm in 3.9, so it's pre-filling to that. But for today, we're gonna assume we're in March 18th, so we're gonna filter ourselves to March 18th here. So we'll apply the filter, and now you'll see all of the employees that are ready to export for the week, and you can do this all at once. In this case, we'll just click Export Transactions, and we'll start and reconcile and sync. And this is an automatic export. So what this means is there's no import export. You do not have to go back into Intacct and import a file. That it's actually reading and sending the information directly into the system through an API behind the scenes. So you can see here, there's 6 lines that have been completed. They work successfully. That time is in Intacct real time and right now ready for payroll processing. And let's just take a quick look at it. So in my Sage Intacct software, I'm going to flip over to my GC company, which is where the payroll is. And let's go take a look at the time cards for that week. So we'll go take a look at time cards. And then if I select the pay group, and I believe Chris is under the hourly pay group, and we're going to pick the week of the 18th. And when I click View Timesheets, I should see Chris's time. And there it is, 41 hours. It's pending. Now you're going to be able to take it through the process. So all of the time that was exported would show up here automatically. The admin can come into here and see the detail of where it was coded. Looks like we have some issues here with cost codes and things like that I probably didn't have set up, but we can edit those. So you can still do further editing here. And you can see the individual times. It went to regular, went to demolition, went to all the individual coatings. They still have the ability inside Intacct to add lines, to edit lines, and then process the payroll on. So that's a quick start to finish flow of how the time entry gets into Intacct. If we go back into the HH2 software, just to show you some other functions inside the software, we mentioned the crews. So what you can do is, depending on how you enter time, in some cases you may have a superintendent or a project manager entering time for his or her group of employees, for example. So what you can establish here is what's called pay groups. And in these pay groups, for example, I have a carpenter crew. And in my carpenter crew, you can establish the settings and the rules. So, for settings here, things like you can turn on a punch clock here. So there is punch clock capabilities where you can do a clock in, clock out for the group. And then as far as what other options should be enabled is, can they see projects? Is there certain codes that are required? So for example, job cost code is required, and different features and functionality. The big thing here is the approval path. So for example, for this crew, what's the approval path? Okay, so the employee's first going to approve their own time. You'll say yes, boom. They cannot approve or cannot edit after they've accepted it. Then it goes to the group manager, the crew manager, and then it goes to the payroll manager. So you can build your own approval paths for each crew, or for each pay group, I should say. Then within the system, you can assign who is the manager for this crew or this group. So for example, actually Terry shouldn't be a crew manager, but let's get him out of here. Greg is the crew manager for the carpenter crew. What employees are underneath this crew? So employees can be in multiple pay groups. They may be jumping around. So here's the employees that are assigned to this pay group, and you can add more if you need to. You can also track equipment in HH2, and so this is what equipment are being worked with this crew. What type of pay, regular pay, and then what jobs are assigned for this crew. So what's nice about this is if this crew is only working on certain particular jobs for this month, you could just filter this list out by those individual jobs. So it's really nice. So you don't have to see a huge list when entering time, and you can add and take these back off, and then you can add them on the fly if you choose to assign that option. And then along with the jobs, you can also assign what cost codes they might be working on. So in this case, I just granted them all, but if they're only doing 3 or 4 cost codes, you can just have those listed here. Again, it's simplicity. You don't need to scroll through everything in the system. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that crew entry. So if we quickly sign in, let's sign in as Greg. And let's go into Greg here. And so to give you an example, Greg can come in here and enter his time for his crew this week. Now, there's always a shortcut if the home button comes up to give the most important pages here. So Greg can go right into timesheet, but you can also go into what's called RP Remote Payroll and see his home menu. Okay, so I can see here, it's really the same thing. I'm going to go into timesheet, and now I have the ability as a manager to enter individual time. Now it comes up to a weekly view, and it works nice if you're just entering for one employee. But what most people do, especially when they're entering for a crew, is they switch this weekly over to daily. And what's really nice about that is now that shows all your crew members across the top. And then you can code to the individual projects and cost codes that they're working on. So in this case, I do want to go and actually move this to, let's take a look at Monday the 13th for that week that we were demoing. And so you can see here, there's Chris Elliott's time. He's already entered his time for that week, and it's been approved through the system. So I don't have to enter him, and that shows Greg right now. That time has already been posted and approved and flowed through the system. So I don't have to enter for crew, but I got to enter for the rest of my members here. So what's really nice about this is I could come into here and say, you know what, we worked demo on Monday on this project of Fullerton Warehouse, and I can just say 8 here for Terry. And what's really nice is you have some options here. So for example, if your crew's doing the same thing, you most certainly can just key through and enter 8 for each of the crew members. But if you have a large crew and they all work the same amount of hours, you can come into here and click copy. And you could do this after each line, or you can do it after each week if you want to. But let's go to copy here. And I'm going to say for Monday, I want to copy to, actually, I'm going to copy to these 3 employees because Chris already has time for Monday. So I don't want to copy to Chris. And I already did Terry. So you could check off individually, or you can say all, employees. So in most cases, you'll probably say all employees, but in this case, I'm just going to select these 3 here. Copy time. And now you can see quickly, these hours have already gone over to all your crew members. So it's a quick way to go in and enter time. And then you could approve that time on the fly as you're doing this, or you could approve it at the end when you're done entering time for everybody. And that's going to follow the same flow that we did before, for Chris when we went through the initial time view. You can also clear the screen. So if you just, keyed something in wrong, you want to clear it. You can autofill it from last week. So if you're doing the same type of work from last week's time card, you can autofill it in and then just make your changes as well. Okay. So just wanted to show you some of those features that are in there and go from there. But that is basically how the HH2 remote payroll software will work in conjunction with Sage Intacc's construction payroll accounting solution. Any questions or comments, please, you can put them in the sections below this live stream. You can also email us at help@bangerinc.com. Thank you and have a great day.